Hey guys, welcome back to Bearded Lumber. Matthew and I appreciate you tuning in. Today we're running some white oak. We had a video come out a month or so back where we were sawing some lower grade white oak to make hardwood flooring. Well, it's been dried and now it's here. We got 3 bundles, right? Customers looking to get 1,200 square feet. We're going to come up short, but we'll make up that difference. Run into some issues. Come back and we'll talk about them and go. Okay guys, welcome back. Let's talk about what we run into. Now we cut these for the customer, well knowing that there were a lot of 2's and 3's in here, and there were some 1's, but in the drying process, the lower grade log didn't dry as good as we had hoped. A lot of bows. When you get a lot of these knots and different things in here, it's going to cause defects in the drying. The worst thing it done to us is most of the boards have took a bow. And that could have been caused by where the tree was growed. Maybe it growed out on the side of the hill. But we'll still make a beautiful product out of it. But what we've done, we've run a few samples. We were hoping to cut them at 6.5 and then cut them again at a full 6-inch finished face. Well, that's not going to work because the boards have shrunk an exceptional amount, which was really surprising. We cut these at a full 7 inches, and some of them drew up all the way to 6 3/8, drew up that much, some of them. And then we've introduced a bow. You can see, you know. So what we've decided to do is to run these 3 times. We got our planer set up for 6 1/4 width, and we're going to raise it to 1 inch, and it's basically going to square one side and take the bow off the other. And then we're going to turn around and run them all again at 5.5 to make sure they're perfectly parallel and probably about 900 thickness. And then they'll be square and plumb, ready to run. We'll set the machine up, we'll run them tongue and groove, V-groove, and get a 5-inch finished face. It's not optimal, it's not what we wanted. I was hoping to get 6-inch, but the wood is just not going to deliver. You know, you just can't make chicken salad out of chicken poop sometimes, and this is our best way of fixing it, because we really only want to have 2 sizes. These are all going to make a finished 5, and the ones that we cut at 5 inches are probably going to make a finished 4 to 3 3/4. I mean, it's just the wood did not dry great, and like I say, it's nothing to do with sawing, it's nothing to do with drying, it's just the quality of lumber that we started with. Because these 1,800 feet of red oak that went through the exact same drying process, and it's perfect. And the reason it's perfect, it come out of perfect logs. So the logs is a determining factor. Nothing to do with drying, nothing to do with our processes. It's just, that's what you're gonna run into from time to time. Not every log dries good. If it's got internal stresses, like this cracked, that's nothing to do with drying. There's a knot runs right through there. Can't help it. So that's where we're at. We had to back up and punt just a little bit. Gonna probably cost us an hour and a half extra to run these basically S4S twice, but I'd rather do that and produce the best quality product we can out of the wood we were given. And they're happy with the knots and the defects. We just can't have it, you know, it's got to be square and straight and flat. And to do that, we're gonna have to make it 1 inch smaller than we anticipated. So to me, it's not the end of the world. We'll make it happen. So enough talking. We got the machine set up. Let's get to running them. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the next morning for Matthew and I. You can see it's overcast and rainy, so it's a good day to be in here working. We got all of our white oak job run the first time yesterday, and unfortunately we're going to run it the second time today, but we're doing it for quality. We took them to what, 6 1/4 yesterday, and about a 1 inch thick. We're going to run them again at 5 3/4 and 900 thousandths, getting them prepared to run it the third time to make good quality tongue and groove flooring. It's not ideal, but it's what we got to do. The wood didn't dry the best in the world. We already discussed that. So, we're gonna make the best of what is here. Is what I'm trying to get at. If that means we got to run it an extra time, that's no big deal. So, enough talking. Let's get everything warmed up and go to work. Okay guys, we're back. We finally got all the boards run through S4S the second time. We cut them down to 4 inches and 5 3/4. Got the machine set up. We're gonna run all the 5 3/4 stuff. It'll finish up a 5 1/4 inch face. It's not hard work, it just takes time. It takes hours behind the machine to make it run. So, whew, much as I love standing here and talk, it won't get done if we don't get to moving on it. So, let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry, it's the next day for us. We just got overly busy, had customers come by, had a saw buddy of ours come by, and just didn't get the camera turned back on. Didn't show it this morning, we'll show it later. We moved out a whole stack, beautiful stuff, it's done. We're down to the 4-inch boards. We're gonna run those this morning, get a hard total of how many board feet we have, and then we'll be pulling a stack I got over here in this building out to make up the difference we talked about. So that's it. I mean, it's just a lot of hard work. I don't know how enjoyable this is to watch because it's just hours and hours behind this machine. That's what it takes. You know, we call it putting your butt in the seat. You got to put your butt in the seat and drive, you know, and that's what this machine needs, is just us behind it for a couple hours getting all this run. There is a lot that goes on. We're not just sticking boards in there. Matthew's not just throwing them on a pile. I'm picking top and bottom, you know, not so much this time around because I did it last time, but I'm picking top and bottom, square edge against the side. Let me just pick up a board. Just for example, here's a little board. It's a short one. And this is the face side. And I've got 2 choices. I can make this side the tongue, or I can make this side the tongue. Well, in this instance, it's got a little void here and a knot. I'll probably run this side this way. I make the tongue on this side, the groove on this side. So there is a lot going on. Every board, I'm making a choice, and when it comes out the other end, Matthew's looking to see if it has a properly formed tongue, a properly formed groove, and the face is acceptable. Now, there's not a lot we can do about the face. If it misses a little bit, it's not the end of the world because it's hardwood floored and it's got to be sanded first thing. But now if it's a big divot, and the customer knows that some of these pieces, when they get home, they may have to chop a section out. Because we're not producing number 1s, we're producing 2s and 3s. So it gives us a little more leeway. But I said all that to say this: I am picking the way this board orients. It may run that way, may run this way. In a rare case, may turn it over and run it that way. So, a lot going on, more than it looks sometimes. But anything you want to add to that, Matthew?
Short boards suck.
Yeah, short boards.
I've got to go that far to get it on the pile, and 32 feet a minute, he's dropping one on the floor before I can get back.
Yeah, I see him bending over quite a bit. I try to give him a heads up. If you see me do this, that's me telling him, hey, it's a short board coming. Now, if he misses it, I told him. But that little 2-foot board, 3-foot board will drop out of there in a hurry. It's not ideal, but we're doing it for a couple reasons. It's all the customers would, and they wanted all of it they could get back. And quality is important, but it's not the most important thing. They're wanting character. So the reason some of them boards were short is when I went to run them the first time, they looked like a banana, and I didn't have any choice. I had to cut that bow out of it and run it as a shorter board, or it had a complete defect in the middle of it that made it almost 2 boards. So normally we're getting ready to run some red oak over here. They won't be any of this short mess, because if it's a short board, we don't want it. We're selling top quality number 1s, 8 foot long, and you know, it's just different. So enough talking. We've got to get this done. We've drug it out this week. I was hoping to be done 2 days ago, but you know, no complaining. Life happens, okay? It just happens sometimes. So I hope you find some value in it. If you got any questions, guys, just drop them in the comment section. There is so much here I would love to teach on, and we will eventually when we have more time, more patience. Me and Matthew argue back and forth occasionally about setup, because there's so much going on inside this machine. But once you get it dialed in, man, we can run. Yeah, enough on that. Let's get to work. Okay guys, we forgot to talk about what we was doing there, but we finished up every bit of the customer's material. We ended up right at 900 board feet. I called him, we communicated, and he was actually traveling from the low country up here to where they're building a house. And he stopped in, and we had a nice long conversation. He looked at what we had. Originally they were wanting about 1,200 feet, and I knew their material wasn't gonna do it. So I had an option. Matthew and I had some white oak laid up over there that we had kiln dried. We'd actually S4S'd it at 950 already. About 30 boards was the right width, and these 51 were 8 inches. So Matthew and I run them through the edge real quick at 5 3/4. So they're ready to tug and groove, and that'll be an additional 300 board feet that we're going to supply to bring their total up to 1,200 board feet to do their house. So things you got to bear in mind. It don't hurt to have a little inventory available to help people out. It's lunchtime. We're gonna set this over here in the shed in case it comes to sprinkle rain. And when we get back, we're gonna run this last 300 board feet. We're gonna wrap this order up, because Matthew and I have been on it for 2 days now, kind of between customers and this, that, and the other. So we're ready to be done with it. and move on to the next big project, which is still sitting here. Yeah, that's still to come. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. We are done finally. 1,200 square feet of white oak. We said from the beginning this wasn't the highest quality stuff ever invented. It has a lot of knots, has a lot of defects, but that's what they wanted. And customer come by, looked at it, thrilled. It will be one of the prettiest floors you've ever seen. Once it's put down, nailed good and tight, finished, putted all the holes, you know. But there's a lot of work getting there, and I explained that to them. This is more of a labor of love than a labor of being quick. But they're building their own home, and this is the look they wanted, so I'm glad Matthew and I could help them achieve that look. Like I said, they were a little short, so the last 300 feet, Matthew and I filled in the gap. Just luckily we had some low-grade stuff that matches exactly what they're doing. My local customers have come through and dug through it several times, dug out all the number ones, so there wasn't any number ones left. But what was there is just perfect to match up. If you got any questions on this kind of work, drop them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them. It goes without saying, if you're going to have a motor, you're going to have some kind of straight line edger, whatever brand you prefer. I like the EG100 because it's not a duplicate. It's not an extra tool sitting over there doing nothing. When we need it, we change the blades on it, use it. We'll switch the blades back. We'll edge green lumber with it. Big shout out to Matthew and Solomon, always doing our videos. Can't thank them enough. Don't forget to check out Solomon's channel, Third Beard Fishing. If you're interested in some bearded lumber swag, you can check out our website, beardedlumbernc.com. Whoo, I'm out of breath. It's getting warm. Big shout out to Wood Mizer. They've been a great help. You know, we had some little issues with our LT70 getting it kicked off. We've worked through them. They were a great help. You won't find me on Facebook trashing them because they were there to help. And the problems wasn't their fault. It was third-party vendor type stuff that just happens. You know, just don't get your panties in a bunch. Work through it. You'll get it all straightened out. They're a great company to work with. Our winding motor performed flawlessly. This is a beast here, people. It takes a lot of money to feed this thing, but when it works good. Whew, anything you want to add, Matthew? You tired of catching? Matthew's caught boards and caught boards and caught boards and he
Those short boards take a lot.
Yeah, the aggravating thing, we had a lot of shorts, and if he falls behind, that short board hits the floor, and then he's got to bend over and pick it up. If all we did was run this thing, we'd have some outfeed table or whatever on here, but we do so many different things. The few days a month we run this, it's not worth having anything sitting out in the way. Currently, we may change our mind, but we don't need it today. Normally we're running 8-foot, 12-foot stuff. I would not even waste my time running a 2-foot board in pine. But a 2-foot board in hardwood flooring can be used. But running this ceiling, if we had a 4-foot board, that thing gonna get chunked out in the scrap pile. You know, I wouldn't waste my time sending it to Matthew. But this is a whole different animal. Guys, as always, appreciate you watching. I cannot believe there's over 8,000 people in the world that subscribe to Bearded Lumber to see what Matthew and I do, but I appreciate each and every one of you. I answer all the comments. Now, I get some questions occasionally that things I will not answer. You know, business related, pricing, stuff like that. You're gonna have to figure that out on your own. There's podcasts and different things that you can get involved in to help with some of that. but it's so regional specific. What I charge right here could be completely different from a guy 100 miles away. His region is different. He's in a big metropolitan, or he's out in the sticks, you know, so we don't even cover that. Don't waste your time asking me. Speaking of that, May the 18th, 17th, we're going to be on a podcast with Two Brothers Outdoors. We'll have a link on our YouTube channel. You can go straight in. If you can't find it, you can go to Two Brothers Outdoors or TC Sawmills or Kilted Sawyer. There'll be 6 or 8 of us, Matthew included. We'll sit down for a couple hours and talk about sawmilling subjects, answer questions. If you guys want to jump on, ask some questions, we'll do our best to answer them. Been looking forward to meeting a lot of our subscribers, and it's kind of an introduction to doing a live stream, so hope to see you there, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back at the mill.
Thank you for watching. Here's a video selection and a playlist suggestion. Click here to subscribe for more great content. We'll see you at the mill.